Okay, a very good evening, everyone. Today, this session is very, very important for us and for you. For this session, we are going to be talking about a very, very important thing, which is the very recent exam pattern that's come from the Institute of Company Secretary. So today, in our presentation, what are we going to cover? I'm going to give you a brief overview of what CS Executive Entrance Test, which is also known as CSEET test, is. What is that test all about? I'm going to be talking about that. I'm also going to be talking about who are we. We meaning what is this goals CS coaching classes. So we are going to be talking about that. And towards the end, I'm going to cover a chapter called Law of Thoughts. So that's something that I'm going to cover. If there is any question, guys, that you want to have or ask, there's this discussion forum. You can post in your queries. I can see the queries that you guys post here. I'll pick that up from here. Okay, so let's quickly start our class. I hope you guys are comfortable. If there is any connectivity issue that you guys face, you can contact admin to see how best we can help you in resolving that. Now, this particular paper, which is also called as CS EET. Now, this is something which is a new thing. It's a new, this is basically something which is introduced by ICSI. I don't know how many of you are aware, but the typical pattern of how the entire study material or the study course happens at ICSI is that we have foundation, we have executive, and then we have professional, which is also called as stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3. Now, I am telling you something which is existing before this. Yes, we've intentionally paused. The video, guys, and we've done that to prevent any issues from a connectivity. So we've intentionally paused that. As far as you can hear me and as far as you can see me, see the presentation, that should be good for you. Okay, because we've seen a lot of connectivity issues coming because of this COVID thing, so we are intentionally done that. Now, as far as now, I'm going to tell you first what was existing before this particular CSEET has come in place. This is what I just told you, that we had 3 exams. We had foundation, we had executive, and we had final, which is also called as professional. Now, foundation was eligible and required to be written by students who had just appeared 10+2. They were required to do that. The moment you were a graduate, you were not required to write foundation exam, and that's when you were required to do executive and final. So these were the 2 stages that you were required to write. Okay. Now, what they have done is they have introduced this paper pattern. Okay, and here if you were to look at the eligibility conditions for people who have to write this exam, so it is candidates appearing in 10+2 examination, they are eligible to write this. Okay, so after 12, students who were otherwise writing your foundation will now be writing this exam. Okay, and also the graduates and postgraduates, okay, who could earlier take a direct registration. They were not required to write foundation. Even they have to now first write this exam. They have to first become eligible, and only then they will be able to write their executive, which is here too. So from a scope perspective, they have now widened the scope. Previously, if you were 12th pass, you could directly write the exam. I'm sorry, previously if you were TY BCom pass or a graduate or a postgraduate, you could directly write the executive, but now that's not the case. For you, even if you are a graduate or a postgraduate, you are required to write this papers, okay, which is called as CSEET test, which is CS Executive Entrance Test. Okay, I hope this brief contest, because it's very important for you to understand what was existing prior to the introduction of this test and what is existing now. Only once you know what was there prior will you be able to understand what is existing now and what is required now. So if you ask me, the scope is now broadened. Okay. So with that, let's get on to our presentation. But before we actually start there, I would want to ask, guys, you're understanding what I'm saying? Because I am aware that a lot of you in this class are new. I hope you guys are able to understand what I say and are able to hear me. Hi, Priya. Excellent. Good evening, Swati. Excellent. Okay. So, with that, we'll start. Now, the first question that must be coming to your mind is, ma'am, what are the papers? How many papers do we have? What are these papers? How are they going to be conducted? Are they going to be conducted on different dates? Are they going to be like one in a day, all paper in one day? How are we going to do that? Okay. So we are going to answer all of that in this exams. Okay. So, paper one is going to be your business communication, which is going to be your 50 marks paper. Don't worry, because I will quickly tell you an overview of the syllabus while yes, I will. We'll talk about it, Sachin, because here at Goals we've started providing coaching, and we have good number of students attending our coaching. There are few students here, Ankita, Priya. They are already from our. They are our students, Swati. They are our students who are already taking our coaching. So here in Goals, we have a proper designed program to help you crack these exams. Very important that we designed the entire program to help you crack. There are these online sessions, online classes which are conducted. You have experienced faculties who are teaching you these subject. You have a lot of support. So I'm going to talk about goals as what how do we do, what are the kind of, how do we make our students prepared. We're going to talk about the mock test that we have at our at our classes. So we are going to get started from there. Okay, so don't worry, we are going to tell you how, and we are going to help you in everything. Okay. So yes, let's start the papers that we are going to have. So here you have 4 papers, guys. Be mindful. If you look at the syllabus is very close to what it was in the foundation, because of the simple reason that the whole idea is that now the foundation will be done away with, and this is the entrance test that they're going to have. So syllabus is very similar to what we had in foundation. Also, you need to understand that there is a lot of emphasis on the legal base building. So there's a subject like um, legal aptitude and logical reasoning. We need to understand that a lot of legal principles that we have been asked to cover here. Uh, Again, very important for us here, that we need to understand that this is the course, this is the entrance test that's going to build my base towards my actual CS preparation. So building of base is done in such a way that the entire course that you see coming, okay, which is your executive and professional, is going to get captured in this case. Okay, so the paper one that we have is business communication, paper two is legal aptitude and logical reasoning, paper three that we have is economic and business environment, and paper four that we have um, is current affairs, presentation, and communication skill. Yes, Sachin, we do teach logical reasoning. In fact, I'm the one who's teaching legal aptitude and logical reasoning. So there are 2 papers that I am managing, which is paper 2 and paper 4. We have another faculty managing paper 1 and paper 3. Even in paper 4, we have something called as Viva VOC, which means it's going to be like a Viva. Okay. Again, paper 4 is something which you need to understand is very, you see, you don't have to be scared about anything, because as I told you that, we in goals, we've started giving tutorials for this particular entrance test. We've designed the entire module to take care that student is well equipped, and that the student is well prepared. Okay. So this are your 4 paper. This is your brief overview in terms of what papers are going to be asked. Now, yes, this is an examination that's going to be, this is an examination. I'm going to come to your question, Fiza. Just give me 2 minutes. I'll come to your question. This particular examination is going to be conducted on a single day. So it's going to be like a paper. It's going to be like a test based on 120 minutes, which is consisting of 4 papers. So when we talk about 4 papers, we've already spoken about what these 4 papers are. Then there is something called as Viva VOC. Now, Viva VOC is something which is very relevant. Now, if you look at the entire course material that the institute has given, Viva VOC has per se not been defined. There are these, it's not defined in the sense they have given an overview in the prospectus, but they've not really given a content. Now, in Viva VOC, answering to your question, Fiza, in Viva VOC, we will be talking about, there are these monologues, there are these dialogue, there will be certain, voice that you are going to be hearing, and basis the listening that you've done, you're expected to answer certain question. Now, here in goals, we have designed the entire syllabus in terms of what possibly can be asked at Viva VOC, and that is how we are going to be teaching the student. Okay. As I told you, the institute has not given the content, but we have designed for ourselves here at Goals, and we are going to be training students even on Viva VOC. So in terms of the training, the coaching that we are going to be presenting, we are going to give you an end-to-end coaching. Okay, a coaching that will give you a complete hand holding in terms of the entire preparation. And also, coming to your question, we have designed mock test. Okay, we have to ensure that that we are going to be conducting a mock test for all the papers that we are going to do. Now, as I told you, yours is going to be an MCQ based papers. Okay, so your entire mock test will be designed in such a way that it will look like a draft of what you should expect in the exam. Okay, so yes, from our perspective, we are going to do the teaching. We are going to ensure that Viva VOC is taken care in terms of the content that we've prepared, because if you look at the institute material, there is no content that they've given, while in the prospectus they just spoken about the brief overview of what it will be. Okay, and thereafter we will also be conducting mock test. These are going to be tests of how the entire paper will look like, and your mock test papers will come back to us. Okay, they will come to us, and we will ensure that these papers are verified by us. So student, remember, not just that we will be supporting you in terms of creating a mock test, but we will also ensure that this mock test is actually verified by me. Okay, so my name is I am sorry, I didn't introduce. My name is Professor Veena Bajaj. I'm a company secretary and a lawyer myself. So I'm the one who will be in charge of creating a mock test. I'll be the one to verify your mock test. And also there is something called as discussion forum. So you put your queries on discussion forum. Your queries will be answered. So that's the kind of huge support that Goals as a coaching classes provides. And what best than these difficult times that we've proved that we are one of the best coaching classes, because one, we have a very big support of the technical team. We are experienced player in terms of the online coaching. I would be delighted to say that in this entire COVID-19 crisis, we would want to tell you that we've not even stopped giving sessions on a single day. And you've got students like Ankita, Priya, Swati, who are attending my session every day. So, in this COVID-19 situation also, we've ensured and continuity. Okay, we've not taken any break. We've ensured that students are prepared for their upcoming examination well within the time. So what better than this? Okay. Also, what we have at Goals is something called as recorded lectures. So whatever classes, assuming you've missed, okay, you have recorded lectures, you have access to recorded lectures, you have live virtual classes where a faculty like me, like what we are currently conducting, is a live virtual classes. This is where we will come. We meaning the faculties would come and take up your classes. Okay. There are these your recorded lectures you can hear. You can come ask your queries to your faculties on the live classes. Okay, and this is all at the comfort of your house. And in this COVID-19 situation also, because this is supported by such brilliant technology, you will be glad to see the way this entire system performs. It's excellent. It's one of the best online coaching that I can tell you, because I have personally been involved in this entire coaching system for a pretty long time, and we know that the technical support and the support that you get from the professors, the faculty, the presentations that the faculties are expected to make, everything is such that helps student in getting good result. Sachin, ma'am, trying it necessary for Viva. I'm sorry, Sachin, what is your question? Trying it necessary for Viva, what is there? I'm sorry, Sachin, I didn't get your question. If you could just retype it for me, please. Yes, writing skill is also there, Fiza. No, typing is not there. It is in Viva, they will be giving you monologues, dialogues, paragraphs. So it's more from your presentation, how you present. They may give you a topic and they'll be expecting you to speak on it. Okay. As I told you, there is no syllabus that's given by ICSI, but we've built on that syllabus. So if you happen to join our classes, you will get an access to all the 4 subjects. And when I say 4 subjects, the current affairs, Viva, VOC, everything gets included there. So as I told you, descriptive questions are something that they may ask you in terms of a topic, and you may be expected to answer that topic. They may tell you about certain, a certain topic, and then and they'll give you certain time. They also, so see, you need to understand the whole idea why Viva VOC has come in place is because they want to test 2 things. They want to see your communication skill, and also they want to see your listening skill. Okay. Otherwise, for every other purposes, you have these MCQs that are helping you. So this becomes very, very relevant. See, in our classes, it's going to be on live virtual classes. The way we are conducting this particular session. Okay, that's how it's going to be. Are you asking face to face or computer based? No, see, when you will be writing, see, Aditya, you need to understand that this entire CS EET test is going to be an online test. You are expected to go to the designated examination centers, and that's where the test will be conducted. So this will be computer based. It will not be face to face. It will be computer based. Understood, guys? Okay. Now we'll tell you about that. See, you need to understand first before we actually get on to Shripati, before we actually get on to going there, how many marks we'll get for passing the exam. Before that, I want you people to look at this slide. Eligibility we have spoken about, right? 10 plus 2 also has to write. All graduates and postgraduates will also have to write. Okay, this is going to be a computer based test. Okay. Shripati, I'll just answer your question. Dhriti, yes, the study material which is provided by ICSI should be good, except for current affairs, where I would expect you to do a little bit of reading on the ongoing issues so that it becomes helpful. Okay. I have answered your question, Dhriti. Shripati, your question is still pending. I will answer it. Sachin, ma'am, merit list kitni hogi? Again, Sachin, very difficult for me to actually say how many merit list would be there. Okay, so guys, I will answer Shripati's question, which is a very, very valid question, saying how many marks will we need to pass this exam? Okay. Now you need to remember that before we get there, this is how your paper pattern will look like. Okay. It's going to be total of 120 marks, students. Be mindful. It's going to be 120 marks, of which you will see 35 marks coming from each. Business communication, there'll be 50 questions, 35 marks. Paper 2, which is your legal aptitude and logical reasoning, is going to be 50 marks, 35 question again, 35 questions. It's going to be 50, 50, 50, and in terms of the question, it's going to be 35 question, 35 question, 35 question. And again, you will have this particular thing, which is your current affairs and presentation. So this is going to be like a 120 minutes duration paper, guys, which is almost 2 hours that you will get, and it will be conducted on one single day. Okay, 50 marks is given to each subject. Be mindful about that. And in this paper, current affairs and presentation and communication skill, which is again a total of 50 marks, you will see only 15 questions coming in current affairs, and 15 minutes will be given for Viva Voce, which is going to be 30 marks. So that's a major chunk. Okay, so let me answer Shripati's question. So I hope by now, guys, you have understood in terms of the total questions that are going to be asked. A total of 120 questions will be asked. Okay, a total of marks that we see in this case is 170, and then we have 170 comes from business communication, legal aptitude and logical reasoning, economic and business environment. 20 marks is for current affair plus 30 for Viva Voce. So total of marks is 200 marks, students. Okay. So 200 marks. And now let me come to Shripati's question, which is, ma'am, what is the passing marks? So that's what they've given. The final score will be computed by adding the marks secured by students in both the test, which is CBT and Viva Voce, which is out of the total of 200 marks. Candidates shall be declared pass on securing 40 marks, 40% in each paper and 50 marks in the aggregate. So which is absolutely how the entire study material of CS looks like. Okay, you need to remember one thing, that the entire study material will be conducted and the entire CS examinations are conducted in this marks, which is the passing is 40% in each paper and 50 in the overall aggregate. Understood, guys? So it's 40% per paper and 50 in the aggregate. Okay, I have certain question, ma'am. Can we attempt any paper online, or we have time set for paper wise? I think, see, from a that's correct, Fiza. Okay. Okay, Fiza, you're right. See, Kunal, I think they've not really set a paper limit in terms of the papers within, but yes, you have an overall limit of 120 minutes, which is 2 hours. Okay. Understood, guys? Yes, so you need to remember 100 in aggregate plus 40 in per subject. Both the conditions have to be satisfied. very, very important point that you guys need to notice, and which is a good news for you people, that is there is no negative marking, guys. So you don't have to worry that if I happen to do wrong, there will be marks that will be deducted. There is no negative marking. Understood, guys? And also what's expected is that 1 month before the exam, okay, 1 month before the exam, you students are expected to be well updated in terms of what's happening in the current affairs. Okay, so 1 month before, like now, if you're expecting an exam in May, you may expect certain kind of one or two questions on COVID, because as I told you, they are expecting you to know what's happening in the current world. What you can do is start reading a little bit of newspapers in the morning, and that will help you to know what's happening in the most current scenario. Okay, guys. So, guys, we've spoken about your CS executive entrance test. We've spoken about what are the papers, what are the eligibility criteria, what is the marks, what is the duration. We've spoken about the final score for passing this exam. Okay, and we've also spoken about the support that Goals will be providing. Please be mindful that we at Goals, okay, let me talk about Goals specifically, because first we just spoke about Goals in terms of giving reference to the queries that you guys were asking. So okay, now let me tell you about Goals, which is Gurukul online coaching classes. Okay, which is what you guys are attending, the live virtual class. Now the study pattern here is such that there are these faculties coming in this open in this open virtual class, which is how you can see. Now only for the interest of the internet connectivity that I've put my camera on pause, otherwise you can actually see your faculties live on that window. Okay, now faculties will come, they will teach you everything, end to end is taught in the class. And also the lectures that these faculties are conducting are such that the faculties are these lectures of the faculties are getting recorded. So today, if you want to listen to the professor 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, you can do that, because you have the recorded lectures, which is such a big advantage in today's time, that otherwise in the physical classes, if there is something that the faculty teaches one, it's done. Okay, here what I'm talking currently also is getting recorded, and you guys can listen to me as many times as you wish. Okay, then you also have something called as discussion forums, where you can go post your queries. I'm the one who's managing discussion forums, so we go and answer those questions. Also, what we have is mock test. Okay, we have these mock tests which are coming, wherein we do prepare students just like the way the paper would appear in the exam. Here in our, as I told you, we are very well prepared for this particular examination. For this CS executive entrance test, we are going to prepare students from end to end. And what better than this that can happen? Because as I told you, in this COVID-19 situation also, there is not even a single day that the class has not happened. We are doing our classes every day. And all of this at the convenience of your house. So what better way of learning than this? And as far as the faculties are concerned, be rest assured that we are all experienced professionals. We are all company secretaries by ourselves. So we are very well equipped in terms of the entire syllabus with the most recent amendments, and that's how we are here to help and support you. Okay. So with that, guys, yes, ma'am, in current affairs includes international affairs or only in our country? See, I think, Aditya, anything that would have an impact. So if there is an international consequences that will have an impact on India, we would expect students to know. Because if there's something which is happening, say, in other parts of the world, which is not directly or indirectly having any impact on me, why would I even know about it? Okay. So even if it's like an international affair, but if it has a direct or an indirect impact on my country, that's when it will be of any use to me. Okay. So that's something that we need to understand. Ma'am, ICSI also take a mock test recently. Okay, I am okay. If they've taken it good enough, while here we are going to be designing, specifically for our students. And not just that we will design, but you people will have to send the papers to us, and that we will verify the papers as well. So it's not only going to be that I will prepare a mock test, you people will have to write that mock test within the time which is so being given by the institute. So you people will have to time it at your respective houses, and we'll have to send it back. I am going to verify that and give you your marks. Okay, this will also help you to see whether in that particular time, whether are you able to are you able to finish your paper. And also after the verification, we will tell you if there is anything, any kind of it. So in the paper, I'll put my comment saying that you need to prepare on this, you need to prepare on that. So as I told you, the mock tests are prepared by me, and that the verification of this mock test will also happen by me. Okay. So, ma'am, since when will the mock test begin? Prepared by goals. So, we are just expecting, Dhriti, we are expecting, as you are aware, Dhriti, and you are our existing students, we are on our way to finish the syllabus soon. Okay, every day we are having classes. Today morning we had, tomorrow we are going to have. So our objective is to finish the time within the timeline that we are expected to. And once the syllabus, and that is why I keep requesting students that study when these classes are going on, so that immediately after this classes we are going to start the mock test. The mock test preparation from our end has already started. So once we've done with this, that's when we will also start the mock test. Okay. We are going to be conducting one mock test per subject, Tanisha, because in the interest of time, we are already in May. We would expect students, see, the whole idea why we are doing this mock test is because we want the student to get the look and the feel. So, and that is what is expected by we want the student to get the look and feel of the exam, and also to see that if the students can manage the paper, and if the paper can be completed within the time of 120 minutes that they've given. Okay, so that's how we are going to be conducting. Okay. Yes, Priya, I will be discussing the mock test papers as well with you. Fiza, if you enroll for this syllabus, okay, all the students will get the mock test. Currently, we are seeing that there is a complete preparation from the examination perspective. All the students are expected to, I'm sorry, not the student, but all the faculties are expected to finish syllabus by a particular date. Once we finish that, and that is why we say we keep telling students that study as we can. Okay, Fiza, so you please start attending our classes as well. Maybe once we finished, because we are almost at the closure now. Once we finished this particular test, that's when the entire mock test will start. Okay. So guys, with that, tomorrow, yes, I think Dhriti, we have Dhriti, Priya, Swati, we have LVC tomorrow as well, right? Ankita? Yes, definitely. I think it's there tomorrow. But still, yes. What time is it? Morning or evening? 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. Fiza, it's there tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. So please be attentive. Okay. Also, okay, yeah, Kunal, you are also there. These are my existing students who have already enrolled, and they have reached far in terms of all the paper preparation, and that we are really well within the time in terms of completing our syllabus. Okay, excellent, Fiza. And also the advantage is, Fiza, that if you whatever lectures that you have missed, you can listen to those recorded lectures. Very, very important. And this recorded lectures will help you understand a lot of things. And after that, also you will see me in the live virtual classes, like the way you are seeing and hearing me. And you please feel free to ask me questions at this particular in this time. Okay. So with that, guys, let's start law of torts. Okay. So guys, any further question on CS Executive Entrance Test? Because I'm going to be starting on law of torts. Sure, Sachin, we'll do that. Okay, so as far as law of torts is concerned, it's, see, torts is a law. Okay, now torts is such a law which does not have any sections, it does not have any rule, there is no act for the law of torts, there's no ordinance. Okay, you need to remember one thing, that the law of torts, as we are talking currently, is something which has got its birth from case laws. Now, what is case laws? When a particular case is discussed in the court of law, okay, and when that matter is, the outcome from that cases, that's where case law is delivered. Okay. Now, as I told you, please be mindful about the fact that this is a law which does not have any section, there are no rules, but there is still a law of torts. This is something which is it is not something which has originated in India. This is something which has originated from the European countries. It's actually picked up by UK Act, and since we follow UK law, and that's where law of torts has come in India as well. Okay. Now, very, very important that, so what are we going to study today in the law of torts? I hope you guys have understood about certain things about law of torts, that there are no sections, there are no rules, there are no acts. This is something which is originated from case law, definitely not something which has originated in India. It has originated in European countries, and that's when it went to UK, and that's where it's come to India, because India closely follows the law from UK. Okay, in terms of today, what we are going to be studying is the basic of torts. We're going to look at the defenses, nuisances, negligence, strict, absolute, and vicarious liability, trespass, and malicious prosecution. So this is something that we are going to be studying today. Okay. Now, in terms of, I have just given you a very brief background about what the law of torts is, because, students, not many, I would say, but yes, a lot of students do not understand the meaning of the torts. Okay. And they keep coming and telling me, ma'am, what is the act? Where is it? So before we actually start the contest in this case, I want to tell you what the law relating to the torts are. Okay. Now, here we need to understand one thing, that is the word tort is derived from a Latin word which is tortum, which means wrong. Okay. So what is a tort? It is any wrong or anything to do with infringement of one's right. Okay. So it is infringement of your legal rights. Okay. Is something that constitutes in torts. Okay. Very important that this is a civil wrong and it's not the criminal wrong. So be very mindful about it, that this is a criminal wrong. This is a civil wrong and not a criminal wrong. Okay. Wrong can be either public or private. Ma'am, what is infringement? Infringement is violation, somebody breaching. I'll give you an example. Okay. Now there is Mr. A. He goes to the house of Mr. B and he goes and uses the swimming pool of that house of Mr. B. Okay. Now A and B are strangers. Because they are strangers, they don't know who they are. The act of A to enter the house of Mr. B and using his swimming pool is an act of trespass, which means I don't have a legal right to enter that house. Okay. Plus, there is a violation of a right. Everybody in our country has a right to privacy. Okay. I have violated that B's right of privacy. Okay. And that is where this entire infringement, which is violation. So infringement means violation, breaking of someone's right or misusing one's right. Okay. Or excessive use of one's right. Okay. So violation of right, breaking of rights, misusing rights or excessive use of rights is something which is called as okay. But you need to understand that for a tort to be applicable, there has to be a violation of your legal rights. Whether damages arise or not is not relevant. Okay, I will come to that defamation, Aditya. Okay, so but first understand that if I have done any wrong, I have violated the legal right of the other person. That other person has the right against me. Whether the damage has happened or not is not relevant. Just look at this example: A and B. A enters house of B and uses a swimming pool. Here, there is no damage per se that's happened to B, but there is a violation of right, a privacy right, and that is where we say that there is a violation of right, and hence this particular thing, and hence this becomes applicable. Understood, guys? Okay, yes, Sachin. Sachin, generally we do conduct classes in English, but if there's any portion that's not understood, then it'll be easy if you can tell me that, Sachin. I'm more than happy to explain the relevant portion to you in Hindi. Okay, now let me answer Aditya's question, which is what is defamation? Defamation means going and saying something against me which violates my right, which violates my legal rights, and which is why it is called as defamation. Okay? So this portion is understood, guys. Law relating to torts, at least this much portion is understood, guys. Anybody, any question on this? Okay, so defamation means, Aditya, today you go and you talk bad about, say, me. Okay, you go and talk bad about me, and you, because you are bad mouthing me, there is this, there is this insult of, basically there is this, you're maybe putting a wrong allegation on me, basis which there is this insult that's happening to me. Okay, and which is what is called as defamation. Okay, basically bad mouthing somebody in public without knowing what you're speaking is true or false. So you are actually going and bad mouthing somebody, talking wrong about somebody in public. Yes. So if I, Fiza, go and talk wrong about you in the public and say Fiza is like this, Fiza is like that, will it not affect your reputation? It will definitely affect your reputation. Correct, Fiza? Voice is breaking. Is it okay now? See, anything where you are talking wrong about the person, it could be the bad mouthing, or it could be, putting up a posture, any way, any mode of communication you may use, but it is something to do with bringing the wrong to the other person. Understood, guys? Aditya, Ankita, Anthony, Dhriti, Fiza, Hemlata, Kunal, Priya, Maria, Lakshmi, Sachin, Sanya, Gupta, Swati, Tanisha, Vikas. You guys are understanding, while I can only see messages coming from few of you. So I'm asking if everybody else is understanding. Okay, if there is any question that you guys don't understand, like the way, Fiza is asking and the other students are asking, please do feel free to ask. There's a question from Aditya which says if the defamed person can file a case on the person who spoke. Yes, under the law of torts, defamation is very much covered, and the person with whom the defamation has happened, he can go and file a suit. The remedies, you need to understand that in case of torts, the remedies are unliquidated damages, which means it is as decided by the court. Okay? In case of law, you need to understand that in case of law of torts, remedies are unliquidated. Unliquidated means it is decided by the by the court. Now, you need to understand one thing very, very clear, that for a tort to happen, there has to be three essential elements. If these three elements are not there, and see the word uses and, which means it's all the three elements have to be existing. The word is not or, okay? The word is and because the word is and, it's very important that all the elements have to be mindful of, or all the elements get captured. Okay, so now let's look at what are these three elements that we need to, what are these three elements which have to be there. Okay, element number one, which is wrongful act. So there has to be a wrongful act. Okay, just take an example of A entering the house of B. Was his action right? Without a permission of the other person, how can you just enter his house? So there is a wrongful act. Okay, very, very important. Okay, so which means when I say there is a wrongful act, it is very important that you understand that there is a violation, there is a breaking of the private rights of the other person. Okay, so what is infringement, guys? As Fiza asks, it's a violation, it's breaking the rights of the, or misusing your own powers, or excessive use of your powers, and which is what is called as infringement. Okay, so the first thing is that there has to be a wrongful act. And when will the wrongful act be there? When you are actually breaking the private rights of the plaintiff. That is why it is called as a wrongful act has to be there. Okay. Then there is something called as legal damages to the plaintiff. Okay. Which means there is a legal damage that has happened to the plaintiff. Okay, now you need to understand one thing, that irrespective of the person suffering a damage or not, but if there is a injury to his legal rights, then the remedy is available. Okay, tomorrow you cannot go to the court and say that, oh, he didn't suffer anything. That is not the condition. The condition is if the person if the person has suffered a violation of his legal right, he will be eligible to get the damage, or the remedy, sorry, not the damage, but the remedy. Okay, so the point number two is the wrongful act must result in causing a legal damage to another, and that wrongful act must be of such a nature so as to give rise to a legal remedy. Understood? So this is, yes, we are going to study that. See, Fiza, it's going to come in the slides ahead. Okay, see, it's there. So we are going to study this both doctrine, because this doctrines actually come from the legal damage to the plaintiff. So we are going to study these two doctrines. Okay, but have you understood these 3 points? That there has to be one, a wrongful act, second, there has to be a legal damage to the plaintiff, and the third thing is there has to be a legal remedy which is available, which should be available to the plaintiff. Okay, Fiza, we are going to study about the both doctrine, so don't worry about it. But everybody else is understanding. Are you guys understanding what is a tort? There are different types of tort: trespassing, negligence, malicious intention. We are going to study all of that. But the basic tort, have you understood? It is any action which leads to infringing or breaking the legal rights of the other person constitutes a tort. And for a tort to happen, there are 3 elements that needs to be satisfied, which is a wrongful act, a legal damage to plaintiff, and the legal remedy. These are my essential elements as far as law of tort is concerned. See, constitution, you need to understand one thing, that constitution is a different, it's a different law altogether. Okay, but law of torts is a different branch, and constitution is the basic of the law that's prevailing in the country. So like all other laws that we have, the IPC, CRPC, contracts, everything will have its birth coming from constitution. But to say that it is the constitution, that's different, because constitution per se is a different law altogether. Okay, guys? See, in the example A versus B, Okay, this act is a act of trespassing. There is a there is a violation of legal rights that has happened while there are no damages per se. So this is called injura without damidum. We are going to study about the doctrine, which means there is an injury of legal rights, violation of legal rights, but there is no damage. But what is the compensation that will be provided to that person will be decided by the court of law, because as I told you, in torts all the damages, the remedies are unliquidated damages. Okay. Understood, guys? Okay, and just one small announcement that we want to take, guys, that towards the end of the session, admin is going to be taking a small pool. Okay, so don't just leave the session like that. There is this pooling that will happen by the admin. So everybody is expected to please stay on, and that will happen towards the end of this session. So after we complete law of torts, that is when we are going to do. So don't just leave the class. Okay, please do attend to that pooling that the admin will conduct. Okay, so guys, have you understood the legal elements, the general conditions of tort? Don't worry, Fiza, we're going to cover all of that. Okay. Okay, legal rights, very difficult to define legal rights, but these are all rights that we have coming from the Constitution. Okay, that's very, very important. Now, wrongful act, we know the act complained of should, under the circumstances, be wrongful. Okay, that means it should not, see, if it's a right act, why will it even come here, right? Only because the act is wrong that this entire thing is coming in place. Okay, so the act should be wrongful. The legal damage, it is not every damage that's wrong, that's a damage in the eyes of law, but there has to be a damage has to be recognized per se by the law. Okay, so which means that there has to be some kind of a injury that has happened. Okay, not every time that this will happen in terms of a material thing, but even when your rights are violated, somebody, you are walking on the road, okay, and you see an electricity pole, and you happen to not see that because it's located in such a way that you just miss it and you injure yourself. Is that not a negligence on the part of the person to also place it in such a way that it's either visible? Okay, so again, these are, it's very difficult for us to define what is my legal right, but there are certain things like my injury, body safety, bodily injury, defamation, trespassing, right of property. So these are certain of my rights, right? So my rights should be protected. Okay. Now these are two doctrines that actually come under legal damages, which is damidum sin injura, which means damages without injury. Okay. Damidum means harm, loss or damage in respect of money, comfort, health. Injura means infringement of a right which is conferred by law on the plaintiff. This maxim means that in a given case, a man may have suffered damage and yet no action in tort can be taken because the damage is not to an interest protected by the law. Okay, so I will tell you an example of this. I have a shop. Okay, I am selling, say, ABC product. Okay, just besides my shop, there is another shop that has come, and that shop is also now selling ABC products. Okay, now we need to understand one thing, that is there a damage? Guys, is there a damage because of the new shop that's opened? Guys, quickly, I want each one of you to attend to this question. Is there a damage or not? Aditya, Ankita, Anthony, Dhriti, Fiza, Hemlata, Kunal, Priya, and everyone else? Yes, there is a damage that has happened. But is there an infringement of the right? Is there an infringement of any right? Correct. There is no infringement. So where there is a damage without an injury, then there is no action that you can take in torts. Remember that, guys. Okay? Because for a tort to be applicable, there has to be an infringement that should have happened to you. Okay? And that is where the tort can become applicable. The second doctrine that we need to be aware of is injura sin deminis, which means injury without a damage. Here, this is the example that I gave you, okay, of that particular right. Okay, I'll give you, there is a beautiful case law here, which is Ashby versus White. Okay, now what happened is this person went for voting. Okay, he went to vote. Okay, and because and he went to the vote, and the polling officer who was sitting there, that officer did not allow him to vote. He didn't get his right to vote. He was not allowed to vote. So he went to the court and he said that this is this is the problem, and that the polling officer did not allow. Now in this case, what had happened is that this person who wanted to go and vote, say, to one particular politician. Now, irrespective of his voting or not, that other politician has won the matter. He has won the election. Okay, this person goes to the court and says that there is an injury, there is a violation of my right, and I was not allowed the right to vote. I was not given the opportunity to vote. Now, what happened in this case is the matter went to the court of law, and the other party presented that irrespective, the other party presented in their case, and they said irrespective of the fact whether this person has voted or not, but that other person that he wanted to vote to has either ways won the election. The court says it is irrespective of whether that other person has won the election or not, but because this person's rights have been violated, there has to be a remedy that has to be given to him, which is what is called as injura without dentum, which means injury without a damage. So irrespective of whether the injury has happened or not, but if there is a violation of the legal rights, that person is entitled to a remedy. Understood, guys? Guys, understood? Anybody who has not understood, tell me. As I told you, Priya, in this case, in case of a law of torts, at this stage, we do not know the damages, the remedy, because it's all unliquidated damages, which means these are remedies which will be decided by the court. So the court will have to say, about this case. Fiza, which is this, ma'am? Can you tell us about this particular school case? I'm sorry, Fiza, I'm not aware. If you have a contest or if you want me to, speak about it, I would want to read a little bit more about this. I'm going to read this. I'm going to read about this, Priya, and we can talk about this in our class tomorrow. Okay. Is it something to do with what we are currently talking? Is it something to do with injura, syndaminum, or any of the doctrine? What is this case law? Are you aware or you're not aware? Okay, no problem. I'll pick it up from there. Okay. So damage without an injury, which is what I told you, right? That in this case, what had happened was that this is the same thing, right? That I am not too sure, but I don't want to be confusing you people. So I'll be talking about this tomorrow, okay? While I briefly understand that there are two schools adjacent to each other, something to do with that? Is that the one that we are referring to? Okay, it's similar to the A and B example. Okay, no problem. So this two doctrine, guys, have you understood? Okay, no problem. Guys, can you move to the next slide? Okay, now menstruia. Now you need to understand menstruia means guilty mind. Okay, when we talk about the term menstruia, we need to understand menstruia means a guilty mind. Now, very, very important that you need to understand is that for the purposes of law, see, in criminal law, okay, in criminal law, menstruia becomes very, very important, which means if I am trying to go and kill somebody, it becomes very relevant for me to establish if I have an intention to kill that other person. Okay, so from a from a criminal law perspective, menstruia is a very, very important term. But in case of law of torts, you need to understand that menstruia is not necessary. As far as you have done that action, now with what intention you did is not relevant. The fact that you have executed that action, and that is when this particular, the person becomes actionable. Okay, the person is made responsible for the action that he has done. So Aditya, if the person is not happy, there is always a provision of appeal in our country. Okay, you will go and you will appeal it to the higher court, whichever court that you are using. You can always go and appeal to the higher court. Okay, now this is something that you need to understand, that kind of tortious liability. There is a strict or an absolute liability, which means you have to exactly pay back that person the amount that other person has paid. So which means damages due to natural use of land. Now these are categories that they've given, where the liability has to be strict liability, which means if there is something that has happened, the liability has to be strict. But here what we are currently see, what happens is, today I broke two flower pots. Okay, my remedy to you will be that I am supposed to replace flower pots. Okay, but there are certain exemption, which means if there are certain acts of God or certain acts which are beyond your control. Okay, like there is this painting that M.F. Hussain has made. If I happen to destroy that, and and if the painter is not available to paint it, can I give you the strip painting back? No, I can't, because there are certain things which cannot be replaced. Correct? Injunction is to stop you from doing something wrong. Injunction is stopping you to do any further. So what is an injunction? Stopping you to do anything further wrong, which is what is called as injunction. Okay. Now, vicarious liability is when you are responsible for the acts of the others. Now, when does what is injunction? So, Sachin, suppose if you have a big land, okay, and you are seeing that there are these people who are trying to encroach. There are these people who are trying to enter your land, okay, and they are, in Hindi we call kabza karna. There are these people who are trying to take the land, and then they will sit there and they will say, okay, this is my land. Okay, so you would have seen in this notices, when the barren lands are lying, they will say trespassers will be prosecuted, which means injunction is a remedy which is available to the court, and the court will then say injunction means to stop certain action immediately. किसी चीज को वहीं पे रुका देना is what is called as injunction, without causing any further damage. Okay, now here we are talking about vicarious liability. Okay, see what happens is that you need to understand that strict or absolute liability means that in case of a particular action, where in that case, whatever is the damage that has happened, see, you have to understand the term Fiza, you have to understand the word strict or absolute liability, which means if there are these as I gave you an example, that if there are two flower pots that have been broken, okay, then those two flower pots have to be replaced. And which is what you need to understand is what each case law will talk about. That the case laws will actually establish the same principle, that for certain wrong you have to replace the same wrong. Okay, and that is where it is applicable, you will apply the principle of strict or absolute liability, which means if there is a certain wrong that has happened, the other person, the defendant, has to make good to the plaintiff to that same extent. But there are certain wrongs where there are other remedies which are available. One such remedy is injunction, which means to stop the person, because in case of a trespassing, somebody trying to encroach your land, that is when strict or absolute liability cannot enter. Okay. uh, then we have something called as vicarious liability. Now, what is vicarious liability? Vicarious liability means you are liable for the acts. So, like principal is liable for the act of a servant. Okay, that is a vicarious liability. Okay. Now, here there are certain principles that they have given. Okay, here they have given certain principle. They've given certain example where the vicarious liability. Fiza, can you just give me an extract of that particular case law? Can you just put that here? Then I can explain it to you. Okay, put the relevant case law here. The one that you want me to explain, whichever case law, guys, that you want me to explain, put the relevant extract here and I'll pick it up from here. Okay. So, as I told you, vicarious liability is where one person is responsible for the act of the other person, and that is why it is called as vicarious liability. So, what are the different kind of vicarious liabilities that we have? We'll see. Principal has vicarious liability for its agent. Partners have vicarious liability between themselves. There is a master. Yeah, Fiza, feel free to put both the case laws and I'll be happy to discuss. Okay. Master has a vicarious liability for his servant. Employer has for its independent contractors, where employer is liable for the acts of the independent contractor. Employer is not liable for the actions of an independent contractor. You need to remember one thing. No, F point is not applicable here. Employer is liable for the acts of the independent contractors and for all the servants who are working. So tomorrow, if there is a wrong that the agent or servant has done, then the principal who has appointed him, that person will be responsible for the actions. Now, torts, what are the different types of wrong that can happen? Battery, which is nothing but an assault to your body. Battery, assault, bodily harm, false imprisonment, malicious prosecution, nervous shock, or defamation. Okay, these are the different types of wrong. But remember one thing that you will have to consider only civil wrongs in law of torts. For criminal wrong, you have different provisions, the different act. Okay, guys. What are the damages or remedies that one has? As I told you, in case of a law of torts, it's unliquidated damages, which is it is decided by the court of law. But there are these overview. So it could be either damages, that is, you will get a remedy. You get injunction. Injunction means to stop a particular action, and then there is a third remedy that can happen, which is called as specific restitution of property. Okay, we'll look at that case law. We'll just finish this first. Okay, then there are certain extrajudicial remedies which are available. In certain cases, it's lawful to redress one's injury by means of self-help without recourse to the court, which is self-defense. One, prevention of trespassers, that is, you can put the barricades and the gates so that there are these people outside who cannot come. Okay, so these are also your extrajudicial remedies, which means these are not remedies which are given by the court, but these are your remedies that you can apply. Re-entry of land, that's another type. Recaption of the goods, which means you will take the possession back of the land. Okay. And recaption of goods. So it's neither a crime nor a tort, but you will take the goods back from the person. Okay. Understood, guys? We'll just finish this and then we'll go to the case law which is given by abatement of nuisance. That's another extrajudicial. So extrajudicial meaning these are actions that you yourself as an individual can take, and that you need not approach the court, because for every time you cannot go to the court, right? Court will also tell you that what is happening. That's like that every second day you're coming to me. So in that case, what do we do? And that's where we know that it is that there are certain measures that you yourself as an individual can very well take. Okay. Then is distress damage fison, which means an occupier may lawfully seize any cattle or any chattel which are unlawfully on his land doing any damage. Obviously, are you then waiting for the damage to happen? You are definitely not waiting for the damage to happen, so you can act for yourself. Okay, so we'll do a quick revision. Then I'm going to go to the FISA's case law, and thereafter, guys, please don't leave. There is this pool that admin is going to be conducting. After that pool is done, you may leave. Okay, revision we'll quickly see. Tort we know is wrong. It's derived from the Latin word which is tortum, which means any wrong. It is very, very important for you to understand that this is a civil wrong, not a criminal wrong. For a criminal wrong, you will not approach law of torts. You will approach the different IPC and CRPC. Okay, in terms of liability, we know that there are three types: strict, absolute, vicarious, and then there is a vicarious liability of the state. Okay, in terms of remedies, you need to understand here you get unliquidated damages, which means remedies are decided by the court, but they are preliminary on these three grounds, which is either you will get a damage, you will get an injunction, or you will get a specific restitution of the property. Okay, now what are the following kind of wrongs that get captured here? It's a battery, it's assault, it's bodily harm, it's false imprisonment, defamation, nervous shock. Trespass is not included here, but that's also something which is captured in this. Okay, what are the extrajudicial remedies that are available to you? Is self-defense. You can prevent yourself. You can prevent prevention of trespass. You can put barricades and things like that to not allow the other person to come in. Re-entry of the land, you can go take the possession back. You can take the recaption of the goods. You can do abatement of nuisance. You can try ensuring that there is a stopping to the nuisance that the other person is doing. Battery is a kind of a physical touch to the body of the other person, which is not welcome. Okay. So it's a criminal, it's basically an offense of a criminal nature wherein somebody is making any unlawful physical contacts. Okay, that's called as battery. It's a tort of intentionally and voluntarily bringing about an unconsented harmful touch to the other person. Assault is again beating or abusing somebody else's body.